You never know how much you love somebody
分かっていたのになんでもっと
until they're gone.
しようと思わなかったんだろう。
A quote that perfectly fits the somber atmosphere in the second half of the first episode of Frieren. A loss of a companion through the curse of aging. She traveled with Himmel in a short span of 10 measly years to defeat the Demon Lord. She regrettably failed to truly obtain an understanding of what it means to lose someone. The show conveys to you how Frieren views the concept of time, from her apathetic, bored attitude to the beautiful time lapse illustrating the passing seasons. 1 year is basically a day on Frieren's calendar. And the anime communicates the years that passed since Himmel's death, reminding us that even if his presence is not here, Frieren's flashback reminiscing about her memories with her party members greatly impacted her perspective on life and time as she slowly ages and her companion starts to fade away as time goes on. She started reminiscing about the days when she had Himmel by her side, and that is one of the smartest way to develop a character that's not even on screen or alive at that point. Through Frieren's memories, we get to learn Himmel's personality. He was kind, caring, righteous, soft-spoken, compassionate, arrogant about his looks, and how he can be a pervert at some times. We are learning Himmel's character as Frieren shows flashbacks of her 10-year journey. An example of an anime that uses a similar way of developing a character through the means of stories or flashbacks is called Monster. If you haven't seen Monster, read it or watch it, whichever you prefer. But for the main villain of the series named Johann Liebert, the way he was built up to be this embodiment of pure evil was not immediately revealing the character's appearance, but his actions, shown by the horrific events and tragedies he caused and the people's stories, rumors, and gossips about this one character that has minimal screen time in the anime. When he made his first appearance, you didn't expect a pretty boy to be the cause of all the crimes against humanity. Whenever he shows up on screen, he does what he does best, to cause chaos and agony for other people. No matter what age you are, his words will poison you and bring out the worst version of yourself. By contrast, we have a character shown as an embodiment of good through the means of stories, tales, and anecdotes from people that he saved. On the other hand, pure evil spreading like the plague from the news outlets, causing incidents, influencing innocent people to game end themselves, and causing havoc amongst the public. Anyway, going back to the topic, Frieren's not just a story about the depressing theme of a long lifespan and the loss of a precious friend that you could have spent more time with. It's about Frieren's metamorphosis as she tries to understand her current companions with the limited time that they have so that she will not make the same mistake as she did in the past 10 years, which are Fern and Stark. Fern came from a normal family, and disaster came upon her village which left her with despair that would end her life until Hyter stopped her and saved her from her cursed fate. Fern's personality is mature and quiet, due to her upbringing and Hyter as the only person she could interact with, while also caring and attending to him. She helps Stark overcome his hesitant nature. She's basically Frieren's mom at this point, which is why Fern acts like a mother of the party, but that doesn't mean she has her faults. You can see that she is a bit secluded and hides her emotions. She's awkward, she gives the biggest mixed signals, she can be a bit of a child sometimes, she doesn't know how to act around the people around her age. You know, I feel like I'm just describing myself here. These faults stems from the fact her parents dying and her village getting destroyed, which traumatized her and made her secluded because it might happen again, and that she only interacted with an old man and a weirdo elf in her childhood. And Stark is one of my favorite characters in the show. So just a bit of a spoiler warning from here. So in his early childhood days, Stark was pretty nifty with the blade. His brother even praised him for his level of concentration. But that strength was suppressed early in his childhood, being called a reject by people, comparing him to his brother. His brother was the only one that actually gave him the attention and love, and forcing Stark to leave him behind to fight off a powerful demon really did a number on Stark's self-esteem. That is also the reason why Aizen relates and sees himself as Stark. They have this kinship of running away and leaving their loved ones behind. But with all that said, in the end, Stark is still a compassionate person, charismatic, caring, a role model for the kids, and he would protect his friends even if he were a pussy. I relate to Stark quite a bit. The fear of taking the first step with resolve is always the hardest part for me at least. Like the video ideas, they're pretty easy, but like actually starting those ideas is quite the hard part for me. If I can break the wall and start doing something, then the rest is pretty manageable. So anyways, with those personalities intertwined, our three main characters will show how three people from entirely different backgrounds can give us enlightening moments, give us the most heartwarming moments, and hilarious moments like how Fern violated Stark using magic that can see through clothes. Fern did Stark dirty there, bro. And lastly, since we're talking about the characters, the villains, or aka the demons in this show, are an actual menace. Not like those types of demons that are just like, oh, I'm gonna bully you and tease you. They're manipulative, cunning, they have no sense of empathy, they take advantage of people, they use human speech to put our guards down. They're basically wolves in sheep's clothing. They are creatures of solitude. They only work together if it benefits them. In one scene in particular, Granat told his story about his son dying in a war of demons while pointing a sword at Lugner. And you know what Lugner did to survive the situation? He scanned the area and made up some random BS about his non-existent father, and Granat, this empathetic man, fell for it. The levels of betrayal and BS I felt in this scene friggin' hurts my soul, bruh. Ugh. And lastly, before I move to the next section, Lugner's name, if you translate it into German to English, it spells out liar, which is pretty much on brand for him. And it's not just Lugner, but the other cast as well, like Frieren meaning freeze, like he's frozen in time and stuff like that, Dark meaning strong, Fern, distance, far away. I've been reading the manga for years, bro. I've only realized this until now because I was watching a breakdown of the OP of the anime. I basically scrolled down the comments and saw a user saying German translations of the characters, and my mind was like freaking blown out of the water because I didn't know it was German in the first place. Like, I thought the author made up some random names in his head and planted it in the characters. And here's an interesting video explaining the meaning behind their names, and by
She-ergox Shechsas. She-ergox Shechsas.
Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna pronounce that. The breathtaking watercolored backgrounds by Yoshioka Seiko are just the things I need to get stun-locked and pause the anime for a second and take in these wonderful works of art. According to Sakuga blog, she has been credited as the concept artist for the whole show and the layout designer for every episode so far. She was tasked with imagining the world way beyond your typical fantasy, like there's no "hey yo, let me copy your homework but I'll change some few things from here and there." She had to imagine how the society works, the customs within that society, how the people live in different areas of the country, and the different symbols surrounding the castles. I just love how they thought through all these little details that nobody will notice at first glance. This level of details to meticulously craft a world that is seeping with life and passion reminds me of the wondrous world building of Mushoku Tensei, from its large-scale landscapes and fluid animations. Also, the character design is basically one-to-one to the original source material, or a better word for it, enhanced. I mean, that's what an adaptation is supposed to do in my own definition/opinion. You get a source material like Frieren that has a solid foundation to its story and characters. And you have studio like Madhouse that involves talented people in the anime industry to make this black and white comic into an embodiment of blood, sweat, tears, passion, and money to make this breathtaking adaptation. The use of color contrasting and lighting is just eye-pleasing to me. The two examples that comes into mind are episode 2 and episode 4. So in episode 2, the later half, we are presented with these warm colors of orange, red, and yellow of autumn and the sun setting down, leading the audience to the blue moon weed, contrasting the warm tone that is taking up 80% of the screen up. The lightning when Frieren finally got hold of her master's notes showed this golden glow of light showering Frieren, illustrating that she has gotten this legendary item. And lastly, the animations are a 10 out of 10 for me. Just having like a consistent walking animation is hard enough. The blast, impacts, and environmental collateral damage just gives a scale of how overpowered and strong the characters are and the enemies as well. accompanying all the visuals, setting the atmosphere, getting down the ambience to fit the vibe, and accompanying the dialogue is the power of silence and the OST, composed by Evan Coles. Captivating thing about the OST and ambience of the show is that it knows when it's time to play the music and a time to shut up and let the characters and ambience do all the heavy lifting. When there are personal moments where two characters are sharing their deep hidden emotions, there's just no music at all. Usually, the music comes afterwards when they finally resolve a problem, they come to a better understanding with one another, or there's a big turning point where Frieren finally understands what Himmel and the boys were excited about decades ago. The music plays when there's a montage sequence, mischievous and hilarious scenes, a change in area, or they're going to a new location. Like every time I see this white text of Himmel's passing, it's always this string instrument and wind instrument, and I ain't complaining. At this point, if I don't hear it, my brain is like, something's off. The storm is about to come, bro. Like there's something bad going to happen. Last but not the least, before I end the video, I want to highlight the amazing art, MVs, music, and covers that the community offered to the series. The sheer level of talent I've seen on my YouTube recommendations page is inspiring, and I appreciate the level of passion they give in order to show their love for the show. The music I'm using in this video is literally a cover of the bangers. I'll leave a link to the description if you want to check them out. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. This video took like a while to make, but hey, if you stuck to like the very end, you're the real G man. Please do consider liking and subbing to the channel, and yeah, comment down below what your thoughts about Frieren, what do you like about the show, the characters, etc. And yeah, that's it. Bye!